place of horrors. In the depths of the night, you hear the calling your heart of darkness.
Hello, Freaky Frighteners. You got the Brewster here for an episode of Brewster Vision presents Brewsteria, and I am joined by my fellow full moon nerd and Killjoy lover, Steven Zebadiah. What's up, brother?
Not much. I'm excited to get to talk to somebody about Killjoy. I don't get to do it often, so.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm a fellow full moon nerd, and I don't have as many Killjoy stuff as you showed me earlier on the video, but I did bring my 3 DVD one just for reference. You know, I have seen the first 3 of them.
Heck yeah. Yep, I know. Heck, ever since I was a kid. I mean, I started off probably 6 or 7 years old, and my dad going to Walmart one day, and we found this collection. It was the first 9 Puppet Masters and the first 3 Killjoys together. So that's where I fell in love with Full Moon and stuff. But I really took a liking to Killjoy. So,
well, before we get into that, would you happen to have that set you just mentioned in your pile that you were showing me?
Yeah, I have this one right here. I don't have the one that I was just talking about. It doesn't have the 12 Puppet Masters on it, but this one does have the original 3 Killjoys on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's not as cool as my Puppet Master box set. I'm just telling you right now.
I know that thing is awesome. It really is. Mine's in worse condition than it should be.
So what drew you to Killjoy? Because you seem to have the similar thing with me. You grew up on this kind of stuff and fell in love with it from the get-go. But what was it about Killjoy that drew you in?
Well, honestly, it was, first of all, it's probably just the first movie in general is like I got hooked on it just because his crazy antics, the stupid one-liners. I'd go around my house all day shouting things that I should not have been shouting, but you know, that's the way it went. You know, it was something. I guess as a kid, it's like, wow, that's cool. You know, I was always fascinated by horror, blood, and that stuff never bothered me. You know, it was like, that's awesome. You know, and Killjoy, it was just like, I didn't understand low budget as a kid. So for me, it didn't seem low budget. It was like, wow, that's crazy ass clown right there.
Yeah, I got you. I didn't understand low budget too much when I was a kid until I saw Troll 2. I'm sure everyone has unfortunately had to sit through that. Yeah. And that was probably my first foray into B movie or low budget. But as a kid, I didn't think Puppet Master or that kind of stuff was low budget because I just thought it was like a Child's Play knockoff, just, you know, killer toys, you know?
Yep. I didn't actually find out, like, I didn't make the connection as a kid that Full Moon was the one that was kind of making the stuff I like. Like, I remember my dad had this other collection. It was like a 20 DVD collection, but there was like 10 or so Full Moon movies on there, like Evil Bong 3. There was a couple other ones, Sideshow, you know, things like that. And so as I got older, I started putting it together. At the beginning, every one of these movies is a Full Moon logo, you know. So I started putting 2 and 2 together, and then actually I never knew about Killjoy Goes to Hell and Killjoy Psycho Circus till I got a little bit older and discovered Full Moon in full, and I was like, oh, there's 2 other ones. Definitely got to watch them.
Is there 5 in total? You're the Killjoy fanatic here.
Yes, there is 5 in total. I mean, technically, you could say there's 7, I guess, because there's like, you have the original 5, Killjoy, Killjoy 2, Killjoy 3, Killjoy Goes to Hell, and Killjoy Psycho Circus. But then you have like this, which was part of the Bunker of Blood, this Killjoy's Carnage Caravan. So it's like different snippets from all the different Killjoy movies into one. And then you have, they kind of did the same thing again. They did Killjoy Terrify. It was released either late last year or early this year. And it was basically just kind of like a rehashing of all the movies, but kind of spliced into one. It was weird. But technically, there's only 5 main movies. Yeah.
So those last 2 kind of sound like Puppet Master Legacy, if you're familiar with that.
That's exactly what it is. It's almost exactly what it's like. It's like the Bunker of Blood thing, especially. It was like you follow this like comic type thing, and he like gets thrown into like different situations, but in each one it like talks about like a main theme or something, and it always will show different clips from different movies. And for the Killjoy one, it just kind of, it didn't really give any context, just kind of spliced them together and was like, hey, this happened, here you go, you want to watch it again, but you don't want to watch the whole movie, watch this. That's the type of thing it was.
All right, so like Puppet Master Legacy, it was a greatest hits, but with some extra footage in there to make it something new, so to speak.
That's exactly right. Yep, that's exactly right.
See, segueing off of that, not to take attention away from Killjoy, but that was one thing I did enjoy about Puppet Master Legacy, without going into spoilers here, was the ending of that did kind of. If you've seen it, right? You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, okay, with the old man and the lady.
Yeah, so that final scene kind of added some more backstory to the puppets, so to speak, without spoiling for everyone. Because for everyone out there, like Steven said, it's the greatest hits of Puppet Master essentially, and you get a little more backstory at the end. It's worth a watch. I mean, I wouldn't say you have to own it, but I mean, I do, of course. But I'd give it a shot. I'm going to check out these Killjoy ones because it is kind of interesting for a one-time view. I'm guessing you can find them on Full Moon Streaming or Tubi or some shit.
Yep. Before I got the DVDs and stuff, it was Tubi all day.
Going back to what you said earlier about your Full Moon discovery, I suppose. I had the same thing back in 2016, I think, and I think I did a Gore Goodies on this. Was I'd gotten the Ginger Dead Man movies, the 3 Ginger Dead Man movies.
Yep.
And as I'm watching the trailers for these, or prior to the movies, I'm like, wait a second, I'm seeing all these movies I remember growing up, and I was like, son of a bitch. And I was like, I fucking remember this company, and I was rehooked ever since. And how serendipitous,
Oh yeah, that's right. Ever since I found out, which I could say it's a tie between Puppet Master and Killjoy as my favorite for Full Moon, just because Puppet Master was always just abundantly so. That's fucking cool. But as I discovered them, like you said, the Ginger Dead Man, like the Evil Bong, and then eventually I discovered Demonic Toys, and I was like, wow, it'd be cool to see Puppet Master and Demonic Toys together. And then I discovered that was actually a thing, and I blew my mind.
I heard that one wasn't that great though.
You gotta have a taste for really loving Puppet Master and Demonic Toys. Like you gotta get through it. It's got Corey Feldman in it, if that tells you anything.
That's what I remember. Yeah, and that was at his peak of his downward spiral, I think, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, I think that was long after that he started doing Lost Boys sequels.
Hey, I like the Lost Boys sequels. I'm not gonna lie. I think the Tribe was just your standard cash-in sequel, but the Thirst. It followed the rules of a trilogy, brought back Jameson Newlander. I mean, it had a lot of closure to different characters. I really enjoyed the third Lost Boys movie.
The third one was a lot better. Yeah, definitely.
The second one was just an excuse to. I mean, it had its moments. I owned it. I still haven't picked up the third one yet, even though I've seen it. But we're getting off topic here. We're Full Moon nerds talking about.
We are.
It's supposed to be about your boy Killjoy. We're going about every other topic here. So, what can you tell us about the character, the people out there? Hey, first off, you have your official Killjoy fanboy. What's it called on Facebook?
The official Killjoy fan group. Yep, it's on Facebook. I created it because when I discovered Full Moon and started getting into it, I looked up different groups on Facebook, like Puppet Master, things like that. And I was like, nobody has a Killjoy fan group. Why not? So I made it, and then I've been trying to promote it ever since. Because if you like Killjoy, I mean, come and join the group. It's everything and nothing but Killjoy. Just the madness. And
you are doing some kind of giveaway or something sometime soon, aren't you?
Yes, we just reached 50 members. I'm trying to get us. I made a post when I first began the group. I said we get to about 75 members, and I have a special giveaway that I want to do, which will be, and I will just kind of go ahead. I'm getting a second version of the OG Killjoy doll. And so that's what I'm going to try to be giving away. So, yeah, that's going to be cool.
Dude, I'm going to fucking enter that contest. So is that why did you started it? Just it was kind of like a hobby of yours, just something like a passion you really wanted to dive into?
Yeah, me personally, I love discussing horror just in general with anybody. I could get into the horror discussion any day, and it could last for days. It's like Monopoly. But, you don't. For certain topics, you kind of have to have a certain group of people to be able to talk with those topics about. So I'm figuring if they're joining the group, then they want to talk about it. That's great because there's lots of things to discuss. There's Easter eggs to different other full moon movies in the Killjoy movies. Like in Killjoy 3, they're watching one of the Puppet Master movies on TV right before they meet Killjoy and stuff. So, you know, different things that I like to talk about, you know, with Killjoy, and like especially like behind the scenes stuff. Like I love behind the scenes, and there's plenty to go on for Killjoy. There's so much.
I actually, my Gory Goodies was released today. Fuck, what, I don't remember. Oh, it was the box sets I was just rezzing you for. Was I had told my friend, my A+ student, as I call her, Megan, that she needed to watch The Evil Bong, because at least the first one, because those Easter eggs you were just talking about, when they go to, spoiler alert, they go to Bong World, you know, they, and each character, once they go, one meets Ginger Dead Man, one meets Jack Attack, one meets what was his character from Trancers? The guy who played Doll Man. What was his name? Was it Jack Death? Is that him?
Jack Death. Yep.
Yeah. So Full Moon is out. I think people forget in this day and age of everything being a shared universe. I think people forget that Full Moon Features was like one of the first shared universe. Well, all right, you go back going that far back, Universal Monsters, but Full Moon was like doing it before everyone started capitalizing on it.
Oh yeah,
You know?
definitely. And speaking of that, it's funny you should mention that, because I was going to mention this, something about collabing different Full Moon universes like Killjoy. They started these Doll Man Kills the Full Moon Universe comics.
Oh shit!
And I have a bunch of them, but this one in particular has Killjoy and Hideous. But if they're just different, I mean, well, let's not show that one just in case YouTube guidelines. But like different, you know, scenes and stuff of Doll Man going around versus Killjoy and things like that. So, you know, it's cool that, you know, you can't see it on screen, but it's just as good like this. You know, you're getting the vision at just the same.
When did that come out?
I don't know when they started releasing the comics. Honestly, I don't know if there's a date on here. It's got to be early enough to where they was putting on for the Full Moon app on the back. Okay,
all right, because I might. That's been out for quite a minute there. I'll have to yell at my friend Jeremy up at the Comics and Friends for not putting that aside for me. That's very not cool of him to do that.
Yeah, I just they have a bunch of them. They have ones that are solely like Puppet Master and stuff, but the Doll Man Kills the Full Moon universes, those are the best ones. There's actually more Killjoy ones than just that one. That's just the only one that I've been able to find. They're so rare.
I can see you representing the Killjoy. What is that behind you? Is like a cloth?
Yeah, it's actually it's a blanket I had made. I had it specially made. It's got Killjoy, Evil Bong, Ginger Dead Man, Demonic Toys, and Puppet Master. It just kind of bubbles all over there. And then I've had it hidden by my shoulder here, but I have this tiny picture that I keep beside it of Killjoy at all times.
Very nice. I thought my obsession with horror was bad. You've got me beat with Killjoy alone.
I'm obsessed. The different things. Like I showed you this this doll earlier.
Yeah.
I don't have the actual box itself out, but the one I got had a slip cover, and it's pretty cool. Full Moon Playthings is the one they released it under, and so it's pretty cool. That was around the time when they was doing these bronze and gold statues for the Puppet Master. He actually came with some cool accessories. You've got like a different hand that can hold ice cream that he came with. Came with two little things of ice cream. And then if you've seen the movie Killjoy, you'll know in the beginning, when Michael is trying to summon Killjoy, he has a small Killjoy doll himself. So funny enough, when you get the doll, he comes with his own miniature doll of Killjoy, which is actually perfect because I have a display shelf over there of like tiny Full Moon replicas, so like the NECA figures and things like that, like the Ghoulies resin statue. It fits in perfect right next to the NECA statues, like it was nothing.
So going a little bit off a topic here, you seem to have a whole fuck ton of nerd stuff here. Why don't you do videos on them?
I wanted to, but when I started to as a kid, I just never. I was always camera nervous, you know. So I would always be stuttering in front of a camera, or the camera's all over the place, things like that. But
yeah,
also I like to open things up, and a lot of collectors I know out there are like, when you open certain things, like
so what?
Certain things I won't. I know there's certain things I won't open, like the Full Moon Toys line, like the Puppet Master figure line, or like the Legends of Horror that had Shrieker and Castle Freak and Radu and all that. Those I keep closed, but everything else I like to put on display. But I never got around to doing YouTube videos or anything because I figured, well, Full Moon is the main thing that I do. and I don't figure nobody will watch it. But then, like, I came upon our friend Ray,
Yeah, absolutely.
Ray Rivera, and
Yeah.
I noticed that so he does horror stuff, but he does a lot more full moon feature stuff now, and people are really into that. So I've thought about it, but I don't know. I get camera shy and stuff, but for some reason doing this, I'm not really. I know you're cool as shit, so it's like I don't have to worry. I don't have to worry about any backlash, I guess you could say. I just get nervous.
Oh, no. If they're watching my page, I mean, there's nothing you could say that's going to be worse than anything I would post. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, but I've got some. You know what? I was supposed to have this in the video. Give me 2 seconds.
Sure,
when
man.
I was a kid, I did a painting just to show you how much I loved Killjoy. I actually posted about this in our group the other day. I actually have it labeled. It might be backwards, but it's motherfucking Killjoy, right? I signed my name. The date was May 25th, 2018, right?
Yeah.
Which is a good minute for me. So I had this idea. I got really into painting, and I was like, I wanted to do a painting that was half and half.
Yeah.
Half the original Killjoy and half of Killjoy 3, 4, and 5. So
Very nice.
I've been the biggest Killjoy fanatic that I know for the longest time. I know any fun facts, anything like that. I know it. I tell you.
All right. Well, let's start off and introduce our audience who don't know about Killjoy. Just start with this. Don't give if you're out of spoiler territory, but pretend I've never seen any of them, and let's have a conversation about it.
Okay.
So sell me on Killjoy.
All right. Well, we can start with the original, which is the one people, besides number 3, the one people tend to like the most, just because it's so, you could tell it's low budget, but it's so fun that what are they called? They called it So Bad It's Good movies. Yeah. And this is exactly what this is. So basically, spoiler free, we meet this young man named Michael, and he's seriously in love with this girl named Jada. Unfortunately, she is already taken by this gang member, and his name is Lorenzo. Well, Lorenzo has caught Michael several times trying to talk to Jada and doesn't like it. And he's been confronted, he's been beat by him, everything. So Michael, don't know where he gets it from, but he gets the bright idea to decide to turn to black magic. And he has, as would have it, a tiny Killjoy doll, looks just like this, just about. And using ritualistic black magic, he summons Killjoy. But for some unknown reason, it doesn't work right away. And unfortunately, Michael is killed by the gang. So a year later, for some reason, it took a whole year, all of a sudden, these gang members that killed Michael start turning up dead in weird ways. And eventually, our main girl, Jada, who we get to follow along in the movie, starts to come face to face with this killer clown, Killjoy. And his whole thing is he is a demon of vengeance. So he's solely for revenge, That's why he is summoned. He uses the Killjoy antic because it's probably the most fun thing for a demon, As a clown, you can get to be, So she basically has to try and go into Killjoy's world to kill him.
Mm-hmm.
It's a whole weird concept, but it's really cool the way they can do it. But basically, her and her best friend and her new love interest, since she broke up with the gang member, especially since the gang member is now dead.
Yeah.
And her new love interest and her best friend go to confront Killjoy. And Killjoy, being a demon, of course, he has powers. So he has, like, I guess you could say, resurrected her gang member people. And so they all have this big confrontation, So the whole purpose is that Michael, the boy who was killed, the boy who summoned Killjoy, was really truly behind Killjoy, or so he thought.
Yeah.
And so Killjoy just lets him basically use him as a cover to get kills, to get more powerful. And as you kind of spoiler free, but kind of spoiler, as you find out, Killjoy's plans have been otherwise this entire time. And just when you think you've defeated him, he comes right back.
As per any movie monster.
What would we do without the sequels? They have to have a sequel.
Yeah, like Stu Macher said in the first Scream, because there's got to be a sequel, right?
That's right, especially if it made a lot, which, funny enough, the first Killjoy, there was no theatrical release or anything like that. It was straight to home video. It was, I think I remember them saying it was an 8-day shoot. It only took, they did, yeah, Full Moon was notorious for very, very short shooting days, and then about 3 months in the editing room, and boom, it's ready to go. So it was released on October 24th in 2000. And
26 years? Almost 26 years?
It has almost been 26 years since the original Killjoy. And the guy who played Killjoy in the original, Angel Vargas, he hasn't done too much since Killjoy, but he actually was in the Jacksons and a family, An American Dream, where he played one of Michael Jackson's brothers. I think he played Tito or Jermaine or something.
Huh.
Yeah, so I found that funny. I was like, how do you go from playing a Jackson brother to a demonic clown? But honestly, like looking at the behind the scenes of stuff, he was like really into the character. Like when he was, in full getup and full makeup and everything, it's like he was in character all the time. Like before they called action or anything, like you could see him like in this one scene where he's in an ice cream truck and he's running this guy down, right? And he's just sitting there and he's like turning the steering wheel and he's laughing his head off. I mean, he's got like some of the best cackles. And you can hear people in the background going, this dude is enjoying this too much. Then you hear another guy go, man, he would have been good for the Joker. And I was like, he might have been good for the Joker. He's got that laugh down, he's that high-pitched voice. But, funny enough, if you watch the behind the scenes, his actual voice is not that high-pitched. Like he can just put it on. He's like a BG or something.
Now he was
falsetto.
He was recast for the later movies, correct?
Yes. So moving on to Killjoy 2. The director of Killjoy 2, Tammy Sutton, she was hired on by Charles Band to do 3 or 4 movies. And I actually have them down here. The other movies she was there to do Killjoy 2. To direct it, but then the other 3 films that she was hired on to do, whether I think writing or producing or whatever, it was Mega Scorpions, Dead and Rotting, and Hell Asylum. Also working on all 3 of those films was this dude named Trent Haga, or Haga, however you want to pronounce it. It's actually a joke in one of the later Killjoy movies. How do you pronounce his last name? So Tammy Sutton knew Trent Haga, and she was talking to him, and she goes, I'm working on this other film for Charles. It's called Killjoy 2, and we start shooting soon, but we have no clown. And, you have you have a small part in these other movies here. What would you think about playing the character? And he was like, well, I don't know. What happened to the guy from the first one? And they said, well, he doesn't want to do it. He's doing other things, and he declined to reprise the role. And so eventually they talked him into it, and he was like, all right, yeah, I guess I'll do it. So they put him in makeup. They did their 8-day shoot with him in the makeup.
Yeah.
And then that was that, And funny enough, this is probably one of the Killjoy movies besides like Psycho Circus, because a lot of people do seem to enjoy Killjoy Goes to Hell as well. But besides Psycho Circus, this is probably one of the most they don't like it sequels that people would choose. If they had to say they had a least favorite Killjoy, it'd probably be Killjoy 2. For a couple reasons. Mostly, like, in my opinion, one of the main flaws was that it's called Killjoy 2, yet Killjoy himself is not even mentioned until 38 minutes into the movie, and then he doesn't actually appear until like 45 minutes in. So you have this almost hour-long movie already, and you haven't even had your character in it yet.
I was gonna say, because out of the 3 of them that I own, I don't remember shit about part 2. But 1 and 3, I remember. 1 because it started it, and 3 is when they introduced. You know what? I says it right here. Why don't you go ahead and tell me who they introduced in part 3? Let's quiz you here.
Okay. In part 3, how do you mean, like character wise, or like?
Yeah, the new villains that Killjoy is with in this one.
I got you. So in part 3, after Killjoy is summoned, you should say, he gets to summon his own, what does he say? His own clown posse.
Yeah.
And so we get introduced to 3 other clown characters, which would be Freak Show, which you have, this is Freak Show.
Okay.
So he's mime, he's completely silent, and he also has this disgusting attached twin to him, and he can throw this twin at you, and it's like attached by, it's almost like an umbilical cord. It's so gross. But anyways, it's like a little Hannibal Lecter. It like eats you. It's so disgusting. So then you have Punchy, which is this dude right here. He's a big husky dude. He can't understand what he says. He doesn't talk English. I don't know what its language it is, but it's not English. Killjoy seems to understand though. And he doesn't have a brain really, so anything Killjoy tells him to do, he does it. Whether it be killing somebody, running an errand, whatever it may be, he is down for the task. But everyone's other favorite character that got introduced would be his girlfriend, Betty Boop, who is played by, what's her name? How do you pronounce her last name? Victoria de Mare. She's actually like a singer as well, but she's done a couple other films. But
didn't Robin Sidney take over in one of these at some point?
Yeah, actually, in Killjoy Psycho Circus, at the end of Killjoy Goes to Hell, it's like, actually, at the end of Killjoy Goes to Hell, they're still together, but in between the time of Killjoy Goes to Hell and Killjoy Psycho Circus, him and Batty have broken up, but he's doing this TV show thing, and the fans want Batty Boop, so they hire faux Batty Boop, which happens to be Robin Sidney. Okay. And so she gets to do the whole Batty Boop get up. Yeah. Funny enough about Victoria de Mare, I don't know if you want to call it an accent or what you want to call it, but the way she talks in Killjoy, she has this really harsh way of saying words. She doesn't actually talk like that in real life. I was surprised to find out like she's straight American, I think. Like she has not an accent at all, but that high pitched voice and accent she does, that's a real good put on. But speaking of Robin Sidney in Killjoy Psycho Circus, I don't know. You said you've seen the Evil Bong movies. I don't know if you remember or not. I'm sorry.
I own them.
You own them, yes. So good. So you know, in the later installments of the Evil Bong movie, she actually shows up in the Evil Bong world. I mean, in the Evil Bong universe, and she's still dressed as Batty Boop and everything. She goes through like a whole or half of one of the films completely dressed like Batty Boop, just acting like her. I thought it was so crazy to see this character that's supposed to be in a clown universe in a Bong universe.
Well, I think Robin Sidney being Full Moon's first leading lady, total sweetheart, by the way. I think she comes back as also not only that one, but her character from the Ginger Dead Man movies.
Yep, that's right. She, her name was Sarah in the Ginger Dead Man movies, I believe.
Yeah, Sarah Lee, I think, wasn't it?
I was gonna say, I think it was Sarah Lee, if I'm correct, but I wasn't sure. I didn't want to be wrong, but yeah, Sarah Lee. So, and it's funny because obviously the Ginger Dead Man crosses over into the Evil Bong, so you have 3 different franchises all in one. And actually, I remember correctly, it was either, I think it's Evil Bong 5. Is that where they escape or EB lets them go so they can sell like tiny replicas of the Evil Bongs and stuff? I think it's Evil Bong 5.
I want to say it's 4 because that's the bowling alley.
Is it the okay? So it's 4 then. So. It's either 4 or 5. One of the two. Killjoy himself actually has a cameo in it. They have what's the dude's name? Larnell. The main lead. He's he has Killjoy selling merch, Evil Bong merch, and Killjoy makes a quick appearance in the movie, and Larnell's all, he's like, you gotta sell, and he's like, I'm doing the best I can, man. And then like the call hangs up, and it's like all these different universes are connected, but Killjoy seems to be one that can be a staple here and there, besides like the Ginger Dead Man, of course.
Yeah. I want to say I got to go on there because if I messed up in my gory goodies, then I'm going to catch a lot of hell for it. But I want to say it's part 4. The box sits over there, so I can't grab it. But it's when they're in the bowling alley, because there's a huge like 20-minute block of this movie, and we're talking about Evil Bong, where they're just advertising badassdolls.com. And,
yes, I love that. That's the bowling alley. That's right. The number 4 is the bowling alley. I think that happens to be my favorite one.
Yeah, because they just have all these different characters from different, like, was it Cracker Joe, I think, is one of the characters, and it'll morph into his doll character and say badassdolls.com, and then you've got they all. That was
the crackhead, the chick. What was her? I know there was Joe Cracker. It was like crackhead
Joe
girl.
Cracker, that's what it was.
They had the Chinese one with the camera. It's so offensive, but it's so funny.
If we say its name on here, or say his name on here, we'll probably get canceled. But it's like, we didn't come up with the fucking name; it's a character.
That's exactly right. I just remembered his name, and I was like, "It's so offensive." Oh my god,
it's hilarious though.
It's terrible. But speaking of like the badass dolls, when they did Killjoy's Psycho Circus, they kind of did a resin statue doll thing for the Killjoy. So I have this here, which is the resin statue for Killjoy's Psycho Circus.
Oh, shit.
I think what's one of the best attires in the movie. And of course, we have his, Malice or Mallet something. I can't remember. It has a weird name. His hammer does.
If you can't remember, how the fuck am I?
But then I have this, she's cracked on her, but her feet are terrible. They're cracked, but I have this Batty Boop statue as well, which is cool. So there's so much Killjoy merch and things. I used to have a Killjoy shirt. I don't know whatever happened to it, but it was the Killjoy 3 poster with all of them on it. And I used to wear it every day, but I try to find stuff like Killjoy wise, like a limited edition, or where to find. So I guess you could say, it says limited edition on it, but there are other copies out there, obviously. But I have this limited edition of the original Killjoy. They did this in a series. They put, it was all limited edition. It was like Curse of Puppet or Retro Puppet Master, one of the Puppet Master movies, Witch House, Killjoy. So it was all a limited edition series. So I picked that one up. That one was a recent pickup. And then, of course, you can't go wrong with having the VHS tapes.
You have VHS copies, man. You are true. You're a true fan.
Gotta have the VHS tape. And, funny enough, I like to, like Blockbuster and Hollywood Video, things like that aren't around any longer, sadly. Yeah. Or, there's like 1 or 2 in existence.
Yeah.
So I try to find different things like that. And it just so happens that my copy of the original Killjoy happens to be a Blockbuster tape. So I thought that was cool. It's got the sticker on the back of it and everything. Little pieces of Full Moon preserved.
Yeah. My buddy Tiki would love that stuff. He still collects VHS tapes.
I have an ever-ending collection of things. But I also have this. But they came out during COVID.
Oh my God.
The Full Moon mask. Gotta have the Killjoy mask. I'm telling you, any and everything I can find Killjoy, I will try to have it.
See, I'm really telling you, dude, you really should start making little videos, because if it's your official official Killjoy fan page, it's your page. You got to sell it. You got to market it. So I really would suggest going into these. You've seen mine. They only get, let's say, like maybe 1 or 2 things, talk about 2 or 3 minutes. And since you're filming it on your own, and there's no deadline, if you keep messing up or skipping words or something, one, you can save that stuff as outtakes. People love that stuff. And then you just keep doing it until you get it right. There's no deadline because it's your page. I really highly recommend you do that.
I think you've started to persuade me into that zone. I think that might be something I'd like to do. Definitely.
Well, I like seeing people carry out what their passions are and really dive into it. Shit, dude, all my social medias revolve around horror movies, So I want to see people, especially when it comes to horror, to live that, to get what they want out of it. It's something that makes them happy. I want to see them do that. I really think you'd have a lot of fun doing that stuff. Your first video, I mean, because mine are still wonky. Your first videos are going to be kind of, you'll look back and be like, oh, Jesus Christ. But it's supposed to. You're not going to have Avengers Endgame every time, on your first video. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I've seen some of your outtakes. They're so hilarious. It's funny because you never know what's going to happen.
No, I used to just delete over them, whatever. But then there was one me and my buddy Greg did for Ride or Dies that was just too funny, and I saw how many views it got. I'm like, well, fuck it, I'll just start saving this shit from now on. So if I get a real good one where, I totally fuck up and don't know what I'm saying, I'll save it on there. So you just gotta. I guess that is a turning lemons into lemonade kind of thing, because even though you screwed it up, it can still be something funny later on,
Oh yeah, definitely. That's like some of the bloopers. The bloopers are kind of mixed in with the behind the scenes, but one of the best ones, like, to watch if you want to just you're trying to have a laugh, is watch the behind the scenes of the Killjoy Goes to Hell, because they just had a ball making this movie. They had 30,000 different people in clowns costumes everywhere, different things like that. So everybody was constantly cracking up on the set and things like that. So it's fun stuff like that.
Well, I mentioned before, maybe this will kind of kickstart you into it. I'm working on a Gore Goodies collaboration video. I've talked to a few people. Basically, I'll make the video, whatever, and then I'll just kind of cut away to, if you saw my episode of Brewster's Blunders where I brought a couple of Brewsteria guests back, and I had them film some clips and cut them in. So a similar thing, I'll just have you, we'll go into details later if you're interested. Just film like, I don't know, 2 minutes you talking about something. Maybe that'll be something to get your feet wet, because you'll be doing it to send me. So maybe you'll be a little less nervous about it. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, definitely get a feel for being in front of the camera more often, things like that.
Yeah, especially if it's your page, man. You really got to sell it. You really got to push it on there. That gets engagement up, and that gets people wanting to talk about it more. So.
Oh yeah, I love it. Like recently on my group, I've been posting different clips from each of the Killjoy movies. It's actually been funny because I go in order. So if I post a movie or a clip about the first Killjoy, the next day I'll do Killjoy 2, the next day I'll do Killjoy 3, Killjoy Goes to Hell, Killjoy Psycho Circus, just a clip each day. And I like engaging in the comments with people. So, if there was a certain funny scene and I really liked it, so I shared it, I like talking to other people about that scene that are like, I noticed that too, or I thought this specific part was funny. I'm like, oh, I never caught that. That is pretty funny, actually.
Yeah. Have you thought about doing like a weekly trivia just for a shout out or something, just to kind of keep engagement going on there?
I haven't thought of that directly, but I did something maybe about a week or two ago. I don't know if you've seen it, but I did a poll, and it was like I said, what other full moon character would you like to see face off against Killjoy?
I did see that.
And I had characters like the puppets, the demonic toys, the ginger dead man, Evie from Evil Bomb. I think I had Jack Death on there from Trancers. Different things like that. Those are discussions that I'd like to have too, like a what if scenario, or like, with Killjoy, it's so easy to like sit here and you could be like, I had an idea for a Killjoy movie, like, things like that, different stuff that, you get to be creative about something that you're also passionate about, and get to talk with others about that. I think that's amazing. And I've always tried to persuade people into Killjoy. I have spend the night at Buddy's house or something, on a weekend when there was no school in session, and they're like, what do you want to watch? And I'm like, it's funny you should ask, because I actually might have something you might want to be interested in, and they're like, oh, okay, cool. They don't know that I'm fixing to put in a low budget story about a demonic clown that is built for revenge that wants to kill people.
Yeah.
But most of the time we put the movie in, we're watching it, we're having a good laughs, maybe a jump here or there, like some of the later Killjoy movies, Killjoy 3, it kind of gets darker in tone. It's not all games and laugh and fun. There are some genuinely darker or scary moments in there. So, talking with your buddies and stuff about, oh, do you remember this scene where I remember specifically in the original Killjoy, one of my favorite kills is when he is, spoiler, is basically when one of the, I won't give any names or anything, but when one of the gentlemen that is in the movie is trying to find Killjoy in his world, and he happens to come across this chain link fence, and on the chain link fence is a doobie. And being a urban movie, you know, that's especially with the original two Killjoys where they were urban movies, you know.
Yeah.
So he picks it up, he starts toking away, and then he says something along the lines of this is some good shit or something. And Killjoy appears and he goes, "You're telling me," you know? And he goes, he says something to Killjoy, and Killjoy gives one of the most funniest lines ever. I won't repeat it just because there's a lot of cussing, but it was one of the most funniest lines ever. And all of a sudden the dude, like, he starts like convulsing. He falls to the ground, and PS2 graphics take over, and he like, it's basically like smoked up. It's some of the worst graphics you've ever seen, but it's one of the most memorable kills because of how bad it is. And I love showing that specific scene to people and being like, they're like, you know, "So you're a horror movie fan?" "Yeah, I'm a horror. What do you like?" "I'm into this one company, Full Moon. I like, you know, specifically like this Killjoy." And I'll pull out my phone, I'll get that specific scene up. I'm like, "Yeah, this is what I like to watch." And sometimes I get looks like, "Okay, you do you, buddy." Other times I'm like, I get reactions like, "How did they do that?" And I'm like, "I wish I knew, honestly, because if I could do that, I'd be making movies, damn it." You know?
Yeah.
Different things like that.
Well, you want to hear it here, since you're talking about Killjoy fan movies or fan ideas, whatever. Here, most off the wall thing off the top of my head that I could think of, it would make no sense, and they don't even, they're part of the same universe, but they don't fit well. Killjoy versus Radu from Subspecies.
You know what? I could see that battle of the hair, because they have some crazy hair going on. First of all, okay, I have never. It's amazing throughout the Killjoy series. You start in number 1, and he's got. It's not really represented well here, but he's got this big freaking fro-looking thing.
Yeah.
And then in number 2, it just grows 30 times in size. I don't even know how the man wore it on his head. I mean, like, it must have been a couple pounds on his head. And then you get to number 3, and it's like shorter than all of them combined. Then you get to number 4, and he goes like half the movie without his hair, just like his devil horns exposed. And then you get to number 5, and it's even smaller than number 3 on his head. And he actually makes a joke about that. It's so funny. He goes, at the beginning of the movie, he's getting like touch-ups done on him and stuff, and he puts his hair on, and he goes, "These things used to be bigger when we had more budget." And I was, it's so bad. It's so bad, but it's funny as shit.
But see, that's why they have a short, because I'm sure it was heavy. It probably slunked his neck down, you know, but that's why they only shoot for 8 days. It's probably permanent damage if they went to day 9. You know what I mean?
Oh God, yeah. And like, especially like, I think, you know, if you're trying to talk about like making of, or, you know, different behind the scenes things, you want to see some of that stuff about the Killjoy world. Like, especially if you like the cast and crew from 3, 4, and 5, where it's all the same cast and crew every time. Killjoy Psycho Circus is a really good one to check out, because you have like a stupid glare. Dang, you have like it's almost like a Scream situation where it's very meta. It's very aware of itself, and I think for Full Moon to do something like that is kind of cool. So like in one scene of this movie, which is probably one of my favorite scenes for any Killjoy movies, they have acknowledged that the original Killjoy is just a movie. So it's like a movie. It's like they did the whole Scream thing where it's like a movie within a movie type thing. So he even pulls out the DVD and everything. He was like, the original was a hit, but the guy who played me in the sequel was a little which is funny because Trent Haga played Killjoy in 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, obviously, he did something different for his character in number 2 than he did for 3, 4, and 5. He changed it up.
Yeah.
But that's part of the thing you do as an actor. You want to change it. You change it. But it's funny because he gets to interview himself. So it's Killjoy, who is played by Trent Haga, interviewing Trent Haga, who played Killjoy. It's so funny.
Now, was part 5 the one you talked about in my Facebook post where He was like in a spaceship or some shit like that.
Yes, actually, Killjoy Psycho Circus is they do the whole Hellraiser Bloodline, Jason X, Leprechaun 4. They take it to space.
Don't forget
And
Critters 4.
And that's a good point. Critters 4. I need to rewatch those movies. Those are some good movies. But yeah, Killjoy 5, they go to space because a little mini rundown of Killjoy Goes to Hell. At the end of Killjoy 3, he has somebody escape him, and in the demon world, that's not supposed to happen. So in Killjoy Goes to Hell, he's put on trial by Beelzebub. They don't call him the devil, they call him Beelzebub.
Yeah.
And so you go through the whole movie, basically, he's trying to prove himself as this evil demonic killer clown to Beelzebub, and it doesn't quite go over so well, and they have to make a quick escape out of hell. Well, when they escape out of hell, they get back to Earth, and some way or another, Killjoy ends up on his own TV show, which is called Killjoy Psycho Circus. That's the name of the TV show. And so basically, Beelzebub is brought before his own kind of court trial thing in the 5th movie, and he's told that since he let Killjoy go, he's going to be punished. But he asks for another chance to go after Killjoy, and they grant it to him, and he goes, well, grant me a spaceship, a massive spaceship. And so basically he gets this big ass spaceship, and he goes to Earth, and he threatens Killjoy to give himself up or he'll start destroying Earth. And so one way or another, Killjoy ends up getting his own spaceship. And so they take the battle to outer space, and it gets really wacky from there. But it is so fun because you have this spaceship that Beelzebub is in. It's just like an alien spaceship, basically. It's all circular and everything. But the I don't know, it's going to be probably so hard to see. But you have Killjoy's rocket ship there. It's basically what he has. And it's so manky and everything, and it's so funny. But yeah, it's so funny. They have space blasters, like I swear it's almost the exact Star Wars sound effect, for like the gun blasters and stuff. So they went all out. This series goes all over the place. I don't know how you start out in an urban neighborhood with black magic, and then all of a sudden by the 5th movie you're in space fighting the devil. There you go. I enjoy it, and I know a lot of other people enjoy it.
Would you happen to know if there was another one on the horizon?
I have researched, and the only thing I can find is funny enough, before we jumped on here today, I was just kind of going through the movies, watching different clips and stuff, and then I got on YouTube and things, and I found this interview between I don't know who was doing the interview, but he was interviewing Trent Haga, who plays Killjoy, and he goes, have you heard anything? And it was a couple years ago, this interview was, but he goes, have you heard anything, about making a new one? And he goes, Trent says, well, the only reason that I agreed to do Killjoy 2 was because it was going to be a good paycheck. He goes, when they came back to me for number 3, I wasn't going to do it. He said, but then they told me that they were going to film in China. And he goes, China? All right, I'll do it. Yeah. So that's basically the only reason he ended up actually returning to play Killjoy for number 3. But then he actually ended up liking the director, John Lachago, who did 3, 4, and 5. He ended up liking the story that he was trying to tell, introducing the clown posse, introducing our main girl, Sandy, and the world he was trying to expand in, and he actually enjoyed it. So when they came back to him for Killjoy Goes to Hell and said, hey, we're making number 4 since number 3 did so well, will you do it? He said, is it the same people? And they said, yeah. So he did it. And then when they came back to him for number 5, he said, is it the same people? And they said, yeah. He said, all right, I'll do it. So in the interview, he goes, if they came to me tomorrow and say, hey, we're going to do part 6, as long as it's the same people, I'll be down to do it. So the option is there. The availability is there. And funny enough, as it would have it, Killjoy Psycho Circus leaves us on a cliffhanger where spoiler, big spoiler-ish, if they had decided to go somewhere with it, it basically ends with Batty Boop going up to Killjoy after their big battle and everything, so it's all going to be better now and everything. And she goes, well, I'm pregnant. And then basically the movie kind of ends. So it's like leaving us on a cliffhanger, like, oh boy, there's going to be a mini Killjoy running around. We want to see Killjoy and his mini son, Killjoy Jr. running around. Come on, where's it at? So that's something I've been waiting on. If they decide to do another one, I really wish they pick it up from there.
Well, you spoiled that one for me, so now I don't have to go see it.
No, there's a lot of other things in that movie, though. That was basically, I mean, I don't know if you can really call it a spoiler, because if they decide to go nowhere with it, then it's like, you can have your own creative imagination, like, oh, okay, she got pregnant, she had the baby, and they went off and murdered people. Yay.
Yeah.
But it's actually really cool. A cool little movie. Obviously, my favorite is probably number 3, which is probably everybody's favorite besides the original, just because it does get a much darker tone. You get introduced to all these characters for the first time, whereas in Goes to Hell and Psycho Circus, you're kind of used to them now. But in number 3, it's like a shock. It's like, oh, okay, there's all these different things going on now. And, the film has a much darker tone. Killjoy is actually more sinister. He's more of a scary clown than just a clown, I know this 2 specific scenes pop out to me in general, like one scene where he is he's talking to his victims through this mirror, and he does this like face, and he like tilts his head downward, and he's like glaring into the camera, and he delivers his line, and it genuinely sent chills down my spine. I was like, wow, that was a great moment. And then the other part would be, you've seen number 3, right?
Yeah, I own the first 3 of them.
Okay, so the dinner scene is probably one of my favorite things ever, because when they eventually get to dinner, I can't imagine. My back hurts every time.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to go and give these a rewatch after talking with you about this for the past 50 minutes or so. I forgot how good they were.
Oh yeah, they're entertaining as heck, and 1 and 2 completely different storylines, but once you get to 3, for people who haven't watched it, once you get to 3, 4, and 5, they follow the same storyline, same continuity, same characters, everything. So it's a pretty fun, wild trip you get to go down with Killjoy.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to try and get to part 4. That's the Killjoy Goes to Hell. That one looks like he's on trial or something in that one, isn't he?
Yeah, so since somebody accidentally escaped him, and that's a big no-no in the demon world for Killjoy. Yeah. So he is taken to hell. He's actually summoned, but he's summoned only to be taken to hell. And so when he's taken to hell, he is put on trial for not being scary, not being a killer, and just a general lack of evilness is what he's on trial for. And that one is actually a fun movie, because not only do you have your 4 main clowns, but you actually get introduced to a whole smorgasbord of other clown characters, like Killjoy's defense attorney. He's this clown character named Skid, as in Skid Mark. and he's one of the funniest things ever. It really is.
Don't say too much else about things. I'm going to try to get around to that this weekend, and I'll send you a message and we can geek out about it through Messenger. I'll definitely check that out. Because we're coming up to the almost hour mark here. As I try and keep these things going here. Is there anything, not to interject here, I try and keep them under to an hour or slower. Is there anything aside, plug your Facebook page aside from you want to mention before we go?
I don't really. If you're a Killjoy fan, it's the official Killjoy fan group. It's a public page on Facebook. Please come and join. I post clips. Wow, do you hear that? I post split and different things like that. It's all about Killjoy or Full Moon. You're welcome to come join and discuss and join the mayhem. Otherwise, if you've never seen Killjoy, I don't know what you're waiting for. Go watch them. They're fantastic. And I promise, not only will you have a laugh, but you will enjoy yourself, especially if you like the low budget things.
See, going off topic back to an earlier topic, That would have been a great blooper thing if well, we are technically recording that, but I mean, so that's something you could have thrown up there later, just like because you owned that shit. You were just like, wow.
I speech impediment. I guess I don't really know. I don't know why that happens. I post a clip.
Dude, I'm telling you. Okay, we're gonna get out of here, but I'm telling you, you need to start making videos for your stuff, because you're gonna get outtakes, you're gonna get all kinds of stuff, and you're really gonna have a lot of fun with it. It's gonna be content for your page, and it's been a lot of great creative outlet for myself. So really consider it.
Oh, after doing this, I'm like 100% certain that I'm going to try to do things like that. You've pushed me into that territory.
It's positive peer pressure. It's not the bad peer pressure.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. It's great stuff. I'm glad somebody has as enthusiasm about this stuff as I do, and motivates me. That makes me feel even better.
Oh, dude, tomorrow, we'll see. It won't be tomorrow when we air this, but it'll be about, I think 2 weeks from now, this is going up. Those Church of Chills tickets go on sale tomorrow. So
yes, I know. I was like, I've got to get my tickets. I haven't got to go yet, but I've got to go to this one.
I think they're having a virtual live stream with John Carpenter at this one.
Yeah, I've joined all the live streams that they've had for him, but I want to attend it in person because like I've got to meet the man behind all the movies.
Those are a lot of fun, but I'll fill you in on more of that later because I've been to a couple of them. But hey, thanks a lot for taking this offer last minute. I know I just hit you up yesterday, but I appreciate you coming down and shooting it with me.
Hey, not a problem. I enjoy talking about this. Like I said, I considered it an honor when you messaged me. I was like, well, that lets me know that at least people see I have an enthusiasm for Killjoy. I really do. It's something that I enjoy. I could talk about it any day of the week, 4 days if I had to.
All right. Well, I appreciate you coming on. We'll have to bring you back here. We'll touch base on Killjoy, see how your page is going in the meantime. But
absolutely.
That was Steven Zebadiah. Join his, hold on, let me get this right. The official Killjoy fan page on Facebook. I can't put a link because I don't know how to do it, but I'll put the picture up there or something. And I am the Brewster. This has been Brewster Vision presents Brewsteria. And until next time, stay cool, freaky frighteners.